This is a flip chart presentation on environmental economics, but specifically about renewable energy in Wales. And today we're going to be focusing on the proposed Swansea Bay Tidal Lagoon and the economic advantages and disadvantages. So as a brief background, this project is still in the planning and application phase, although it is looking very likely to go ahead in 2015. The technology is not particularly new, but this will be the first tidal lagoon built in the world. Electricity is created through 16 turbines that make best use of the high tidal movements that are found in Swansea Bay. Some important figures are highlighted here. Capacity 240 megawatts, the annual output is 420 gigawatt hours, and the designed life is 120 years. The electricity created is estimated to power approximately 120,000 homes. So before we go into the advantages and disadvantages, let's look at the costs. There are varying figures out there, but 1 billion seems to be the most up-to-date and accurate. The capital invested will largely be private, with a large bulk coming from institutional investors such as Prudential Insurance, who recently invested 100 million in the project. 442,000 has been raised in the community offer, so this will be good for local shareholders, and it is believed another public offer will be going out this year in 2015. There will be finance required, and to achieve this, the project will need to take advantage of government subsidies under their Contract for Difference scheme in promoting renewable energy. The lagoon would have to hit a strike price to warrant the subsidies, and a report by the European energy consultancy PORI have suggested a strike price of £168 per megawatt hour, which should be fine. The economy will benefit with £454 million added output for Wales, and the local spend in Swansea of £5 million. The gross added value, GVA, may be 173 million per annum. These figures come from a report by the Cardiff School of Economics in early 2014. However, according to the Tidal Lagoon website, as of January 2015, the GVA would be more likely to be £76 million per annum, which is considerably less than the original predictions. Another thing to consider is the manufacturing of components. The statement here is from the CEO of Tidal Lagoon Power, Mark Sharrock. If true, this could have the potential for industry in Wales, with an estimated 500 million to be spent on components. Something worth adding also is the proposed expansion of the project. Tidal Lagoon Power Limited, which are the creators of Tidal Lagoon Swansea Bay, aim to build 6 lagoons in the UK, 3 in Wales, including Swansea, the others being Cardiff, or between Cardiff and Newport, and Colwyn Bay. And should this go ahead, it has been suggested by CBR, who is an energy consultancy, that a 35.4 billion investment over 12 years could add 27 billion to UK gross domestic product, and 3.1 billion per annum in GVA. Furthermore, should this industry be successful, there is the potential for a global market of 383 billion, as can be seen in the statement at the bottom of the page. Jobs are an obvious benefit to local economies, especially in an area of high employment such as Swansea and South Wales. However, the predicted jobs created through this project have dropped significantly since its inception. Talk of 20,000 jobs is now looking more likely to be 1,900 jobs in the construction stage, with 180 jobs required during its operational period. Although much lower, more jobs are still positive. If the project was to be expanded to 6 lagoons, according to the study by CBR, there could possibly be 70,000 construction jobs and 6,000 full-time jobs created if 6 more, or a total of 6 lagoons, were to be created. Another thing to note is the potential creation of the turbine and component industry in Wales. That would again increase jobs and job years. Another advantage would be leisure and tourism. It's set to bring in money to the local economy, as is natural with tourism and leisure. And there are predicted to be 70 to 100,000 increased visitors per annum. Sports and recreation such as sailing, competitions and education are just some examples, and more can be seen here. Environmentally, there are economic benefits also. The main one being the reduction of CO2 emissions, which is currently a hot topic on a global scale. A predicted 216,000 tonnes of CO2 will be saved each year, and this will have a positive knock-on effect for the economy in terms of healthcare, industry requirements and policy. The potential for a lagoon to act as a coastal defence is also something to be considered. Public money spent on erosion and sea defences would be saved if this theory were to be true. So we've talked about the advantages, now we'll go into the disadvantages. In an economical sense, first off would be the cost. Could 1 billion be better spent elsewhere? This initially could be seen as a disadvantage, but in comparison to other renewable energy sources, a lagoon actually works out better. You can see two examples here, one for wind and one for solar. Both have £1 billion spend on renewable projects in the UK. And if you look at the figures, it appears that the Tidal lagoon would actually be the most reliable and efficient. Jobs were mentioned in the advantages section. However, it must be noted that the vast majority of these jobs will be fairly short term. There is also a major difference in the exact job numbers that will be created, which also raises questions. And the major opposition to this project so far has been the environmental aspects. The impacts predicted here also have an economical impact, so here are 4 points that could become issues in the future. By nature of the seawalls and position of the lagoon, longshore drift will be affected. This could reduce natural sea defences downshore and eventually end up costing lots of public money for erosion control. There is also a SSSI, Site of Scientific Special Interest, to be considered for this project, which also sits downshore of the proposed site. Sediment influx from the River Towie could also be an issue in terms of build-up, and this coupled with the build-up of sand from Swansea Bay could see high costs being created through dredging processes in the future. The eutrophication of water could also create economic issues. Poor water quality in and around the lagoon could have adverse effects on tourism and recreation. An example where high costs were attributed to a problem like this would be Cardiff Barrage, where infrastructure was necessary to improve water quality and thus cost quite a lot of money. Local tradesmen may also stand to lose out economically, including fishermen in the bay and also upstream of the River Towie. Another trade that could be affected is oyster and mussel farms in Swansea Bay itself. So we've been through the advantages and disadvantages, and now for a quick conclusion. Throughout this research carried out here, it appears that the Swansea Bay Tidal Lagoon would be economically viable. The returns on capital invested are pretty much guaranteed. The operational costs are low, and as are the decommissioning costs after 120 years of service. The local UK economy would benefit through several ways, and added to this, Swansea City and Wales has got the potential to be a front runner in this technology, so future expansion would be key. There are environmental issues to be considered here, and these particular issues may end up proving very costly. However, considering the benefits both economically and environmentally, it appears that this project may well be worth achieving.